This is part 2. If you want to catch part 1, go to our channel and look for this same episode number and look for part 1. And so we want to continue this discussion about the MAGA movement a little bit. So you had in the prep some very good insight about some failing MAGA strategies. We've kind of talked about some winning MAGA and trying to get regular, average, everyday people to vote.
Yeah.
But now some stuff that's not working, some bad optics, to say the least. So there was something that happened where Joe Rogan, in an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, he had a guest on.
Yep.
And said that he liked RFK Jr. Yep. And it sounds like basically endorsed him. He may not have said, I completely endorse everything he stands for, but said, I like him.
Didn't sound like he was voting for Trump or Harris.
And I'm not wanting to vote for Trump or Harris.
Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of people, these big, accounts on Twitter and Instagram with American flags in the bio, etc., just started losing their crap.
Yep.
And losing their mind and say, we can't believe you. How could you do this? You're wrong. So on. Then the very similar reaction to Kyle Rittenhouse. So Kyle Rittenhouse, for those of you who don't know, was in Kenosha, Wisconsin. There was a bunch of rioting. He had an AR shouldered on his AR rifle on his shoulders. Went over there to provide medical care. He had some first aid kit and some other things. So he was trying to take care of some people that were hurt in the rioting. Mm-hmm. And he was charged by 3 people. He shot them. He ended up going to jail for a short time and then had to go before a trial. He was thankfully found innocent on all counts.
On self-defense,
So, it was found to be self-defense. And thank God for that.
Yep.
I like the guy. I don't know him personally. And the thing is, so then he put out a tweet saying Trump has failed on certain Second Amendment issues and I will not be voting for him.
Right.
About 24 hours later, maybe a little less, he had another tweet saying, I've talked to people on the Trump campaign, realized that Trump is going to defend our Second Amendment, which is why I'm endorsing him.
Right.
And the initial tweet, the first one, similar thing, got hammered over and over by these right-wing accounts, these conservative people that said, we can't believe. And some things they said was that, look, we've had your back. Trump has had your back from day one. You're turning on him. Okay, is that true? Sure. But Rittenhouse is not your slave, right? Yeah. Rittenhouse is a human being with an opinion, with a conscience. He can decide how he wants to vote, what he wants to say.
100%.
And he's also a young guy. And it just, my heart goes out to him because this guy has a social media account and is just being slammed unjustly.
About political stuff.
Right.
And he's not a politician.
That's the other thing is this guy is a gun advocate. And when I look at him, I say, okay, if I were to use the term single issue voter, I'm not trying to say it with a negative connotation. Yeah. I would say Kyle on the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing to be a single issue voter on. The Second Amendment is very important, right? I think you should be more nuanced, but that's one man's opinion. He can have his opinion. And when I read that, I said, it didn't really change my opinion of Kyle Rittenhouse. I said, okay, that's your view. And there were so many people that just went absolutely ballistic. And then whenever he said, I've changed my mind, there was a decent amount of people that said, okay, thank you.
No.
There was also a decent amount that said, oh, I can't believe you said that to begin with. Now you're having to come crying to us and cowering to us. You're weak. And it was just a lot of bad faith attacks.
Yeah.
So you made some very good points and said, this is not a good look.
No.
This is chasing people away and saying, well, with that, why would I vote Republican? And that's just a bad look. There is a point. This is my point to people. There's a point where you should gatekeep. Yeah. I want the Nikki Haley's and the Chris Christie's out of our movement. I do.
Yeah, no question.
But there's other people that are not our enemies. There's other people that may think about things a little bit differently, but we should look at them and speak to them and talk to them. And sometimes they may bring up a cogent criticism. Other times they may not. We may need to make videos saying, okay, so, for example, Elon Musk said this is why he's wrong, in a very level-headed and logical way.
Yeah.
Other times we should say, okay, well, no, he made a very valid point over here, whether it be Kyle or Elon or whoever. And I just say Elon because he's another one that's leans conservative, but is not really one of our guys. He's not really a dyed-in-the-wool Republican conservative type of guy. He is viscerally sort of conservative, and that's about it.
Yep.
And so that's my mindset when it comes to him. So, yeah, go ahead and talk about these both events with RFK Jr. And with Kyle Rittenhouse. Would love to hear you restate your opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a difference between criticizing somebody and attacking somebody. These two events, I think, have not been critiques, especially like the main comments have not been critiques; they've been attacks. You know, I'm sure there's people out there that have, like you or I, that would critique things like this. Yeah, but we're not going.
We've talked about RFK Jr. in a very logical, level-headed way, and said he's great here. Here's some things we really disagree with. Yes.
Abortion, which he's walked back, but still he sucks. On that side of things, vaccines and stuff, sure, great, but yeah. But no, I again, there is a difference between criticizing and completely attacking a person. Attacking is the side of the left, and when I say the left, I don't mean I don't know how many times I've said this. When I say Democrats and stuff like that, I'm talking about like the major media outlets and just the major spokespeople. I mean, yes, there are I'm not worried about the small Democrat voters. I'm talking about people with followings. Those are the people that I'm talking about. But anyway, the tactic of the left is attack, and if you're not with us, you're against us, you suck, this, that, and the other, whatever. You're dumb, you're stupid, everything else. Now we've got MAGA and big parts of MAGA sitting there saying like, oh man, Joe Rogan's an idiot. The blonde of talk shows and stuff. It's like, dude, what? The guy's got tons of money. Like, first off, I can't stand people that call people with like a lot of money dumb, because it's like they had to be somewhat smart to get there, for the most part, unless you're like out there selling drugs and stuff, of course, because I mean that but anyway, aside the point.
Most people don't usually keep their money.
Right, exactly. So but it's like, yeah, I mean, no, Joe Rogan's not dumb. He had one of the top podcasts for the longest time. I mean, again, he's still up there. People. Right. If you mention Joe Rogan, people know.
Oh yeah.
I think he's
went from being a podcast just for people that like UFC.
Yeah.
To so many, just millions of people worldwide.
Yeah, just a general here's my opinion on things. And it's
because he will talk about almost anything.
Oh yeah, he's what I told you earlier is I think he's kind of like a Elon Musk is like he's not really like right, left, this, that, and the other. He's just kind of like a truth seeker, and what he finds as truth, he's gonna say. Same with Elon. Elon's kind of gone over to the right, but I wouldn't call him a Republican necessarily. But he's just found this side as of right now better because of certain values and stuff. Same with Joe Rogan. He's found RFK to be better. Okay, cool.
We can disagree,
right?
But that's his decision.
That doesn't make you stupid.
I will say I'm not frankly that surprised because I don't know when the last time this guy voted Republican.
Oh yeah, no question.
He's voted. Let's see. I think it was Ron Paul in 2012, or maybe it was even earlier when Ron Paul was the Libertarian candidate.
Yeah.
He voted for Gary Johnson in 2016,
the
Libertarian candidate again, and then Joe Jorgensen in 2020. Another Libertarian candidate. So it's not really like a lot of people are shocked. It's like, well, if you look at how this guy has voted in the past, you are not really politically tuned in if you're enraged by this. This is how this guy tends to be. He's kind of in the middle. He leans right on certain issues, and other issues he definitely leans left when it comes to drug legalization, gay marriage, stuff like that. He definitely leans left. And he's not so much on the left when it comes to, as you just brought up, things like vaccines, which I think is really why he's probably going after RFK and thinking,
because he's called out Fauci and stuff
right.
like that.
And he got enormous criticism from the COVID people. That just thought the COVID cult is what I meant to say, because he took ivermectin. And they just freaking lost their minds. This video is probably going to get a COVID tag on it now because of me saying the forbidden words. But I don't really care.
Won't be the first time.
Yeah, it won't be the first time. And it won't be the last.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So that being said, he has his opinion.
Yeah.
Love it or hate him. That's just the way that it is. And the thing is, people on the left have a horrible double standard of if there's we mentioned Scarlett Johansson earlier about what she said about the White House, whoever makes it a political statement, the left is like, well, you guys just need to be a little more tolerant of their political views being different than yours. Then you've got a guy who's on a big podcast, says stuff they don't like about COVID, and they are so angry. Like, there's normies that I've talked to that are like, I used to listen to Joe Rogan, but once he started talking about COVID, I just can't listen to him anymore. And it's like, really? There, you don't have any filter. You don't have any mindset at all of, like you just said, looking at this guy and saying, well, he's a truth seeker. He's trying to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
And he's had,
and it might
RFK,
not be true to you, but that's what he came to the conclusion.
And he's had RFK Jr. on, and RFK Jr. has cited the studies for vaccines. Yep. Okay, go in there and dispute that.
Yeah.
Don't attack RFK Jr. personally. Look at the studies he's talked about and say, okay, what are you missing that he's seeing, and have an open mind.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to do that. So, and again, that's on the left. But back to the MAGA thing, I agree with what you had said initially, that I really think that this attacking, like you said, not criticism, but attacking, is going to bite people in the butt, because a lot of people are going to say, it's the idea of shooting your wounded.
Yeah.
I get that Rogan's not wounded, and neither is Kyle Rittenhouse, but you don't want someone to move away a little bit on certain issues and you just kick them out. And again, there's a place for gatekeeping. There absolutely is.
Yeah.
If someone is a liberal.
In the political realm, but not like these talk show guys. You don't got to gatekeep. I don't know. That like, for Nikki Haley's and stuff like that. Yeah, 100%.
She was running for president.
Right, exactly. But these
Rogan's
guys that are just stating opinions and stuff, I'm not gatekeeping that, because if they do state truth, that's good.
Right.
Also, on the Joe Rogan thing, Trump got in on it and made a comment on truth. I don't know it word for word, but criticizing him a bit. And it's like, dude, you're the worst one to do it. Don't do that.
Well, and so there's that. And then there's also, this is when we talked about RFK before, Trump just attacking RFK Jr., calling him more liberal than Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And that was an episode something we covered in another episode, saying, man, that was a wrong move too.
Yeah. I mean, no.
So we have our criticisms of Trump. We are not Trump cultists. People that love to use that term. We will call Trump out whenever he makes bad decisions. And a lot of the things he said on Twitter and a lot of the things he has said on Truth are missteps. Not all, but some. And that was one of them, attacking him as being more liberal than Joe.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it didn't really change anybody's mind. What RFK supporter read that and said, oh, shoot. None of them. They all thought, well, that's just Trump being Trump. And they probably went back to doing whatever they were doing.
I mean, no, stuff like that is, I don't know. It doesn't, it hurts you more than it helps you. It definitely doesn't help you. There's a comic out there of, there's a red and a blue guy, and the blue guy's supposed to be the Democrat, the red guy's supposed to be the Republican.
Sure.
And then there's a guy in the middle who's kind of like this undecided, right? Blue guy shoves the red guy, blue guy shoves the undecided guy. Red guy comes over and says, "Hey, you okay?" And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then the blue guy goes, "Why are you siding with this guy?" And that's how it used to be. But now you're turning into, it's a shoving back and forth. Red guy shoving back to blue guy shoving back and forth, because you're turning into these guys that you didn't like. You did not like the left for doing this, and now you're playing the same game, all because they don't fall in line. That's not okay. Again, there is a time for attacking, but when it comes to people that really don't, when they're not politicians, does it matter? Like, does it matter that Joe Rogan is probably going to support RFK Jr.? No. Yeah. Here's the thing. He's at least getting, there are leftists, right-wingers, and that follow Joe Rogan. Here's the thing. He's a truth seeker, so he's still pointing out some stuff that the left might agree with and the right might agree with. So that affects the middle ground guys, right? So like vaccines, right? Who might be like, man, I really don't know. And they go and listen to these guys like, Tim Pool, who you said is not a Republican, and go, man, Tim Pool's right on whatever, man, that's kind of, he's right, which might lean more right. And man, Trump has that value. I'm going to go vote for Trump. And now, counterpoint, that can go, wow, yeah, they're right on, I don't know, abortion. Like, that's Harris. I'm going to go vote for Harris. So, these things, work both ways. But you don't attack those people. You attack the people that are in your party trying to, your values.
Right.
So that's my whole point of it, is like, let these truth seekers say what they want, as long as they're, factual information. Plus, you have freedom of opinion and stuff, you know. So yeah, criticize, you know, tell them they're wrong as far as like, you know, if Joe Rogan, you know, abortion or whatever, something like that, you know, yeah, no, you're wrong on this. That terrible opinion, whatever, this, that, and the other, or like, here's why you're wrong, give them the facts, this, that, and the other. But attacking somebody, come on, you know, that's not who we are. You know, that's right. That's not, and it's not going to help us. It's not going to help us. And then when Trump does it, it's times like these that I'm glad he's not on Twitter. I think he needs to come back on Twitter, but if he's going to just do the attacking thing, no, sorry, X, he needs to stay off of it.